representative of the legislature, thereby obstructing the normal functions of the House of Representatives. Mr. Presiding and distinguished colleagues, on Tuesday, October 22, 2024, these 6 colleagues of ours deliberately acted in consonance to lock the doors to the chambers of the House of Representatives, thus obstructing normal functions and depriving us the opportunity to be heard on our vote of no confidence in the Speaker of the House of Representatives. At another interval, these colleagues locked the doors to the joint chamber of the legislature on 2 separate occasions, again denying us the opportunity to do the people's business. On October 22, 2024, these honorable mobilized thugs from the streets who stormed the grounds of the Capitol building to harass, embarrass, and harm fellow colleagues for reasons we are yet to understand. This action destabilized normal activities at the Capitol and sent waves of shock across the Republic about the safety of members of the House of Representatives. Furthermore, these honorable men, especially Honorable J. Marvin Cole and Honorable Edward Pape Flomo, with total disregard to their fellow colleagues, have consistently rained naked insults at fellow lawmakers within the plain view of the public, thus desecrating the sacredness of the House of Representatives and dragging our image into public disrepute. Based on these reasons, we wish to submit to this plenary a call to action for the investigation of our colleagues named above. Sincerely, Honorable Alexander Paul, Representative District Number 1, River G County. Steve Tikwa, Representative District Number 2, Riverside County. Honorable Sylvester C. Miana, Representative District Number 8, Nima County. Mr. Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is the reading of a complaint from few of your colleagues against 6 of your colleagues. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, you listen to the reading of the communication from our honorable colleagues complaining some members of the House of Representatives on allegation of act that have brought this honorable House of Representatives to public disrepute. Before restating, distinguished colleagues, what is your will and pleasure? Honorable Austin Tatum.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable distinguished co-presiding, my distinguished fellow members of the House of Representatives, having listened to this very much important communication that seeks to create sanity in this honorable House, I will move, if I can obtain a second, that the communication written by my fellow colleagues be open for discussion, afterwards to be placed under a committee of a whole where plenary will definitely finalize a decision against these colleagues who have openly brought this House to a public disrepute.
With the motion being seconded, distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? Honorable Koga. Honorable Koga, Honorable Thomas in our order, and then Honorable Flomo.
Presiding, co-presiding to the movement. I will be ready to vote consistent with our rules, which states if or whenever any of our members fell injured, he or she must file a complaint to the Speaker And upon reading of the communication, it should be either turned over to the Rules Order Administration with a timeline to investigate. I will be ready to vote that having listened to the reading of the communication in line with our rules, and also owing to the fact that those names mentioned in the complaint are those that the reports of the complaint supposed to be addressed to, that the co-chair of Rules and Order, Abu Kamara, the chair on Rules and Order, Honorable Marvin Cole, are all involved in the complaint. And in our rules, Rule 54.2, it states that when the chairman, the co-chairman are not functional, it is in keeping upon the flow to determine two votes to remove the two persons. It did not say after the two chairmen or the chair and the co-chair move, members should succeed. For the fact that these two individuals are...
Colin, please state your unreadiness, please.
That's my unreadiness coming. I just want to lay premise.
The premise is long.
Thank you. So, for the fact that the chairman and the co-chairman complaint have been launched, it means that that committee ceased to function. Based upon this, I will move, I'm ready to vote if two things. The plenary form an ad hoc committee, or the committee as a whole as plenary to investigate the case and report to this other body within 3 days. Yeah, the plenary should form itself into a whole committee or whole.
To the movement.
So, Mr. Movement, I know
to my distinguished honorable veteran from Nimba County, surplusage does not vitiate, and in this light, we will state that the motion already carried that there should be a committee of a whole to investigate this matter. So I so accept.
So there were two amendments in one. One, committee of the whole. The second issue, it should not be open, if I got it clear, for deliberations.
No, based on that.
One is accepted and one is rejected.
So one is rejected, the one where it should not be discussed.
Honorable Thomas.
The doyen of the legislature, Mr. Presiding, co-presiding, fellow colleagues, consistent with our rules, Rule 40, 41, and 42, and our colleague just read Rule 52. And to the movement, I will be ready to vote, having already moved that a committee of the plenary constitute a committee of the whole to intervene into the matter. I will be ready to vote if a timeline can be set that on Tuesday of next week, owing to the fact that this Thursday is a holiday, that Tuesday of next week, our colleagues who have been complaining should appear before plenary to give due process so as to intervene into the matter. If you can accept that single amendment.
To my distinguished colleague of Monserrado County, Honorable Michael Thomas, and having considered that you are quoting the rules, I so accept your unreadiness.
Distinguished colleagues, Honorable Flomo. Honorable Yan Flomo.
Honorable Presiding Officer, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, I will be ready to vote to the movement if this amendment can be made, that during
For the presentation by the proponent of the communication, if they have pieces of evidence, they should display them vividly so that we can know the magnitude of what they are talking about.
So to my distinguished honorable from Nimba County, a committee of the whole has been already set up, is going to be set up. So in consonant to that investigation will be receiving the evidences. So I so reject.
Honorable Taylor, I want you to restate that motion. Honorable Taylor, you got it? The amendment to the motion? Seeking submission of the exhibits on the allegation.
Yes. To the committee of the whole.
To the committee of the whole.
Yes.
It was accepted? Yes. Thank you. Honorable Kule.
Let me say to the presiding and the honorable deputy, as doyen of the House of Representatives and joint doyen of the National Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, and co-presiding distinguished colleagues, to the people of the land of happiness and sunshine, the Great Maryland County. I will be ready to vote if you can accept my amendment that in order for this investigation, since it's going to the plenary as a committee of the whole, not to be prejudiced, for us not to discuss it, remain close until it gets into the committee of the whole, in order to avoid prejudice. I will be ready to vote.
So my learned colleague, who happens to be a lawyer, I understand your background, so I accept your readiness.
That's true.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding, co-presiding colleagues. Mr. Moving, I will be ready to vote for you to consider this simple amendment. For the fact that there was a video footage on that day displaying our colleagues who partook into obstructing the function of this honorable body, bringing the body to public disrepute. I will be ready to vote for you to consider that those, especially those members of the 55th legislature who photo appear but are not named in the communication, also be invited, including specifically Honorable Sonny Noah. I will be ready to vote for you to consider that amendment.
To my honorable colleague, we duly accept your amendment.
Distinguished colleague, with all of the amendments, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Those against? Abstention. Results.
Honorable Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, the vote is unanimous.
With the votes being unanimous, distinguished colleagues, we will encourage all those in favor. We would like to say, distinguished colleagues, with the votes being unanimous, we encourage our colleagues that have been mentioned in this complaint to please adhere to the mandate of plenary, be able to submit themselves on Tuesday in keeping with the motion that is being made. To recap the names, those individuals: Honorable Josiah Marvin Cole, Chairman, Rules, Order and Administration; Honorable Edward Papi Flomo, Honorable Frank Safoko, Honorable Eugene J.M. Corey, Honorable Abu Banan Kamara, Honorable Zina Norma, and Honorable Ellis Noah. Please, Honorable Chief Clerk, you are mandated by this plenary to officially communicate to individual colleagues to appear 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. Failure on your part, distinguished colleagues, the decision of the majority will take full swing. Thank you. Information.
So the names just heard that will be investigated for act
now that you are accepted to
carry on the 17th of October.
Number 2, Rivers County. I want to take this time to recuse myself from this committee so that the investigation will go on smoothly. As complainant.
It is Representative Steve
information
who complained his fellow colleagues to the majority bloc of the House of Representatives, mainly Representative Marvin Cole, Frank Safoko,
distinguished colleagues,
Edward Pape Flomo,
you cannot be part of the committee of the
for
whole.
bringing the House of Representatives to public disrepute. So they are asked to be here not later than Tuesday at 10 o'clock to listen to that complaint. And they will be investigated by plenary.
Against Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Chairman on Rules, Order and Administration. Dear Honorable Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, I present compliments and write formally submitting a complaint regarding the behavior and actions of Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Chairman on Rules, Order and Administration. Honorable Deputy Speaker and distinguished honorable members, it has come to my attention that Honorable Cole has issued an alarming directives to the Personnel Director of the House of Representatives to use physical violence against Honorable House's Secretariat members when they are seen in the vicinity or premises of the Capitol building. I believe this directive to beat House Secretariat members to death or inflict wounds on any of them, including staff who is allegedly not supporting his bid, is grave, concerning, dehumanizing, and reflects a blatant disregard for both dignity and survival of the House's staff members and any other staff for that matter. Distinguished Honorable Presiding Officer and Honorable members, I'm optimistic that such a statement, whether figurative or not, creates unconducive working environment and severely undermines professional standards expected within the House of Representatives. And as Chairman of Rules, Order and Administration, it is worth mentioning that it behooves him to maintain a working atmosphere of respect, safety, and decorum for all employees in the Capitol building. In view of the aforementioned, I plead with the honorable members of the House of Representatives to ensure that Honorable Cole, who is the Chairman on Rules, Order, and Administration, to halt or stop his intimidations, threats, and harassment of staff of the Honorable House of Representatives who, out of perception, he alleges are not his supporter or the likes. Kind regards, sincerely, Honorable BMP Saleh Jr., Senior Stenographer, on behalf of the members of the Secretariat. Mr. Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is the second complaint this time from the head of the Secretariat on behalf of the colleagues. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, you listen to the reading of the communication from Honorable B.M.P. Saleh, Stenographer of the Honorable House of Representatives. What is your will and pleasure? Honorable Ernest Marcia.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding, Mr. Co-Presiding, and fellow colleague. I stand to move, if I can obtain the second, that after carefully listening to the communication from the Secretariat of the House of Representatives and having the same nature as the communication previously put forth by our colleague, I move, if I can obtain the second, that this communication be combined with previous complaint and then be investigated by the Committee of Hold, if I can obtain a second.
With the motion being seconded, are you ready to vote? Are ready, Honorable Kogan?
We got to be very meticulous as to how we proceed with complaints. The gentleman who wrote the complaint is not a member, but equally so is a staffer who serves us. So I will be ready to vote if the presiding can set up a mini ad hoc committee on a separate basis, not the plenary as a whole, to invite Melvin Cole to that committee to look into the matter.
Having listened to one of the senior comrades with all of the experience working here, I would want to humbly reject.
Already, Honorable Pima Jury, Honorable Avas Jury, in order.
To the movement, the honorable gentleman from Lima County, I'll be ready to vote concerning the fact that the communication mentioned the HR. So I'll be ready to vote if the HR will appear alone, because it's also alleged, alone or on honorable code. I'll be ready to vote.
I so accept.
Mr. Presiding, Mr. Co-Presiding, colleagues, to the movement, I will be ready to vote were you to consider this amendment. Considering that the second communication is separate from the first communication, that the second communication be treated separately, because the rule that is being violated is Rule 41, wherein our honorable colleague, Honorable Melvin Cole, has misused power. So I will be ready to vote where the second communication to be treated separately.
To my lender colleague of Magibi County, I will only accept impact on ground that the communication has to be treated by the plenary as a committee of hold, but on a separate date. A separate time, that's what I'm trying to say.
Could you state that time or date or day?
Mr. Presiding, Mr. Co-Presiding, colleagues, Mr. Moving, I will be ready to vote where the communication from the Secretariat be treated separately, where the plenary can convene in a committee of a whole, and that hearing should be conducted on Thursday of next week.
So accept.
With the accept, Honorable Yan Flippo.
Honorable Presiding, Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, to the movement, I will be ready to vote if you can accept this simple amendment. Given the fact that this complaint is not coming from us, it's coming from one of our staffers, in order to do justice to this complaint, I will be ready to vote if we can designate a special committee to do a background investigation on the truthfulness of this complaint to inform us for appropriate action.
I think this is the similar motion that already been rejected. So the issue of our staffer, yes, the communication is not coming from members, but also equally important as members. Whatever that affects the staffers, it also affects the plenary as a whole. So I still maintain that this communication be treated separately, but be treated by the plenary. So
with the rejection, distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion being made to allow the investigation being treated separately, colleagues along with staffers as largely involved, appear to this honorable body on Thursday for investigation. Distinguished colleagues, without that, are you ready to vote? We've already stated that. Are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yea. Against? Motion is carried. Chief Clerk, please act accordingly. Next.
Communication from Honorable Johnson S.N. Williams, Sr. Honorable Thomas P. Fowler, Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, Honorable House of Representatives, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Honorable Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, I write to bring to the attention of plenary statement issued by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, LACC, on alleged bribery involving the Ministry of Transport and Water and Sewer Corporation. In a statement, the LACC indicated that it was made aware of sources of funding in the total amount of US $750,000 was allegedly made available to the lawmaker through the accounts of the Ministry of Transport and the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, LWSC, respectively. Honorable Presiding, these are serious allegations regarding the House of Representatives. I therefore like to plead for the indulgence of plenary to invite the Minister of Transport and the Managing Director of Liberia Water and Sewer to appear before this plenary to provide clarity on the issue. Sincerely, Honorable Johnson S.M. Williams, Sr., Representative District Number 3, River G County. Mr. Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is a reading of a communication from Honorable Johnson S.N. Williams, Sr. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleague, you listen to the reading of the communication from our honorable colleagues, Honorable Williams. What is your waiting pleasure? Honorable Anthony Williams, Williams to Williams.
Thank you. Yeah. Honorable Deputy Speaker, Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the communication from my lender colleagues, Johnson S.M. Williams, with no connection to my origin, from River G County, and I have a Maryland. That communication, Honorable Presiding, is very, very much grave, and it put us around our integrity. Some of us, you see us in this fight, it is because of our integrity that we have built over the years. And I'm coming. Your order denied. Your order denied. Okay, thank you so much. So, Honorable Presiding, having listened to the communication, I want to start fighting now, I'll move when I can obtain a second that 3 minutes be given to the colleagues to elasticize all the issues that has been levied against Liberia Water and Sewer, Minister of Transport, vis-a-vis members of the House of Representatives. If I can obtain a second.
With the motion being seconded, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of Honorable Johnson, try to elasticize for 3 minutes. Please take your readiness the way forward. Honorable Bowen.
Thank you very much, Presiding. Honorable Presiding, co-presiding, I will be ready to vote when the movement can accept this simple amendment that those that are being named, the LACC boss, the water and sewer, and whosoever concerned should come along with their councillors. So to clarify all doubts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Zoe Bowie of Cranfield County. He and I share the district. I'm from Cleveland, Sologan. He's from Cranfield County. Having listened to his amendment, knowing fully well the gravity of the case that required a vivid investigations, I so accept such amendment for the LACC as well. And then the Labrador Water and Sewer Minister of Transport come along with those people that was articulated by him. Thank you so much.
Honorable Colette.
Honorable Presiding, Honorable Co-Presiding, it is by precedent that the wisdom of the elders will always prevail over the younger ones. I do accept.
Thank you, my dear brother. Presiding, co-presiding, and calling to the movement. I will be ready to vote, Mr. Presiding, owing to the nature that the letter being read, inviting the head of LACC and other institutions to appear on a specific matter is clear that they are not being called here on a contempt. So on the basis of that aspect, our rules, we cannot invite them to come with their lawyers. It's an ordinary interaction. Thank you. If you can accept that simple amendment. And thanks to my colleagues on Bond for yielding to me.
Honorable Presiding, Honorable Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, lawyer will always be lawyer. So having listened to Anthony Marco Thomas, who I will soon be joining very, shortly, I so accept that the lawyer's aspect should be amended. Thank you so much.
Already, Honorable Alvastrom.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding, co-presiding, colleagues to the movement. I will be ready to vote for you to consider this simple amendment that the communication stated clearly that the Water and Sewer and Ministry of Transport be invited. So I will be ready to vote were we to stick to the communication that the two entities invited or rating be invited. LACC, Water and Sewer and Ministry of Transport. Having listened to my colleagues, Ava Kokolo Jones from Margery County, one of the doyens who understand the intricacies that is involved with such a matter, I so accept.
Distinguished colleagues, do we have the date of appearance in all of the unreadiness stated? Tuesday. With that said, distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yeah. Against? Honorable Williams, elasticized, 2 minutes.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, presiding, honorable co-presiding, distinguished colleagues. Although my letter is self-explanatory, but the matter brought before this august body is very grave, and it is important that the Honorable House of Representatives take this matter very serious. It is a public notice, and it is on a public record that this august body, the Honorable House of Representatives, has been accused of allegedly receiving money from the accounts of these two government institutions. And although on public that the WSCS made a statement regarding that, and in line with the pronouncement made by the LACC, it is important for this Honorable House to invite the management of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation and the management of the Ministry of Transport to provide us clarifications as to the allegations. It is us. This matter, it is about us. So I think it's important that we seize this matter, and it is important for plenary to see this as very important to save our integrity as well as to save the image of the Honorable House of Representatives. Honorable Deputy Speaker, presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, on this matter, I so submit, and I will rest if there are any other inquiry or further question. Thank you very much.
You listen to the motion that was made? So with the motion, we'd like to say thank you, Honorable Johnson, for your presentation. Distinguished colleagues, with the presentation made in compliance with the motion from our distinguished colleagues, Honorable Williams, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yea. Against? Motion is carried. Honorable Deputy Chief Clerk.
Yes, sir. Please
convey our invite to the the Managing Director of LWSC and the Minister of Transport to report here on Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next.
Communication from Honorable
the entire clerical staff.
Dear Honorable Presiding and distinguished colleagues,
is with the majority bloc, except for the Chief Clerk of the House of Representatives, who wrote stating that she is not
We'd
well.
like to draw the urgent attention of the House of Representatives of the 55th National Legislature to the dysfunctional status of service centers across Liberia. As a matter of fact, the key reason for establishing service centers was to ensure that basic services are decentralized so that our people are able to adequately access them with less stress. However, it seems that this was just a mere dream, as the services required to have been provided by the centers are unavailable to our people who are mostly rural poor. For example, motor vehicle services which allow the people to obtain services such as vehicle registration and availability of driver's licenses, printing of plates for motor vehicles, motorcycles, and tricycles are completely non-existent at the moment, least to talk about printing of certificates, etc., thus rendering the service centers across the country a burden rather than a relief. It is because of the dysfunctional status of service centers within the counties that I have decided to seek the indulgence of the Honorable House of Representatives through this plenary to kindly cite the Honorable Minister of Transport to appear before this plenary to provide reasons why these important services are not available to our people up to press time. At times like these, when revenue sharing has become a key component of our governance system, keeping the service centers without the provision of basic services will mean undermining the growth of our counties, the improvement of the lives of our people, and the development of our communities. Mr. Presiding Officer and distinguished colleagues, this matter is serious because needed revenues that are supposed to be utilized to the good of our people will instead be redirected to Monrovia and hugely benefited by the central government, thereby depriving us of said resources. It is my ardent hope that this august body and this honorable plenary will do the needful to help us help our people. Kind regards, very sincerely, James Colette, Representative, District Number 2, Bon County. Honorable Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is the reading of a communication from Honorable Colette. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, we listen to the reading of the communication has been read. What is your weight of pleasure? Honorable Kisi Collins.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the reading of the communication from our colleague, Honorable James Colette, Bon County, I move, if I can obtain a second, that the report be received, endorsed, and submitted to the Committee on Transport for an investigation and report in 2 weeks.
Got your second? With the motion be seconded, distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yeah. Oh, I'm ready already. Honorable Sokan.
Honorable Presiding, Honorable Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, to my distinguished gentlemen from Lofa County, I will be ready to vote if you could kindly accept this simple amendment that the communication just read be accepted and that the Minister of Internal Affairs be made, or Minister of Transport be made to appear next Thursday, not this Thursday, next week Thursday, if you could kindly accept.
To my colleague from Branjil County, nice suggestion, but humbly rejected.
To the movement, I will be ready to vote were you to accept my simple amendment that the proponent of this communication be given some time to expatiate on his communication, after which the plenary will also be given some time to delve into this matter as it has to do with our various counties. I submit.
My dear colleague from Maryland County, next suggestion, but humbly rejected.
Honorable Presiding, Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, to the movement, I'll be ready to vote if you just add a committee on internal affairs, because most of the service centers are being hosted by internal affairs. So,
thank you, Honorable Obadiah Vani. Taking into consideration the internal affairs of this country and that has to do with the Ministry of Transport, working in line for the smooth running of our institutions or the foreign institution, I accept.
Distinguished colleague, with the acceptance, are you ready to vote? Honorable Seko Kane.
Honorable Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding, to the movement, I will be ready to vote. Realizing that the service center are under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, it will invite the Minister of Internal Affairs and be present with the Minister of Transport for the hearing, if the movement would accept that.
Accepted it, right?
That was also accepted, Chief.
So, Honorable Williams, already?
Yeah, accepted, Honorable.
My learned colleagues, Honorable Gisi Collin, thank you for offering the motion. But I will be ready to vote because the conversation that borders around county service center, it is cut crossing to land government institutions. You have the vital statistics, also supposed to be delivering services in the county, which is birth certificate. You have the labor business registration, that also supposed to be delivering services. You also have the Ministry of Labor, that also supposed to be doing that. So I will be ready to vote. Honorable Lender Codis from Lofa County, Gisi College, that the Director for Vital Statistics, the Director for Labor Business Registration, and Vital Statistics birth certificate, that it be awarded for it.
Thank you.
Be added
to the movement.
To my colleague from Maryland County, smart colleague.
I humbly accept. With the accepted distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yea. Against. Motion is carried. Honorable Deputy Chief Clerk, please act. Next.
Communication from Honorable Alexander Paul. Subject, request of the appearance of the Executive Director of the Rural Renewable Energy. Dear Honorable Presiding Officer, I wish you a compliment and craving the indulgence of the Honorable House of Representatives to request the appearance of the Executive Director of the Rural Renewable Energy Agency or his deputy, Mr. Steve Porter, before plenary to provide briefing on their programmers and activities related to the electrifying rural communities as well as sources of the funding for these initiatives next week, Tuesday, which was October 29, yes, out there. Honorable Presiding, it is my hope that this body will do the needful. Thank for your cooperation. Sincerely yours, Honorable Alexander Paul, Representative Electoral District No. 1, River G County. Mr. Presiding Officer, the Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished Honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is the reading of the communication from Honorable Paul. Even though it was deferred, then that's why it did. It's 2902.
Distinguished colleague, you listen to the reading of the communication has been read. What is your way and pleasure? Anthony Williams.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the communication from one of my learned colleagues from River G County, Alexander Paul, that borders around electrifications, I move, when I can obtain a second, that 2 minutes be given to him, 3 minutes be given to him, to give us an architectural explanation as it relates to the electricities that's given people have. I'm going to do a second. Yeah.
Did I hear a second? So with the motion being seconded, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yeah. Against. Honorable Paul, architecture deliberation. 3 minutes.
Honorable Presiding, Honorable Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, thank you for affording me the opportunity. There is this government institution that was enacted into law that is responsible for rural electrification. So my communication to this plenary is pleading with this plenary to invite the director and his deputy to come and explain and give us briefing as to their workings. This institution is responsible for rural electrification and realizing that LEC is not all over in our rural communities. And so they are responsible to provide renewable energy electrification in our respective rural communities. So I'm pleading with this plenary to have them invited to explain to us their progress and their sources or source of funding. I so submit.
Distinguished colleagues, with the presentation by our distinguished colleagues, Honorable Paul, in keeping with the motion, Mayor, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yea. Against? Honorable Formula, you lead. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next.
Communication from Honorable Ernest Mercier. Honorable Thomas P. Fowler, Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, Honorable House of Representatives, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Honorable Deputy Speaker and Presiding Officer, I present compliments and wish to bring to the attention of this honorable body issues of concern regarding the implementation of the Local Government Act of 2018. There are many concerns respective to the implementation of the Act. Henceforth, I crave the indulgence of this plenary to invite Honorable Francis Akila Nyamali, Minister of Internal Affairs, to appear to give a report on the rollout of the Local Government Act of 2018. Yours sincerely, Honorable Ernest Mercier, Representative, District Number 4, Neva County. Honorable Presiding Officer, Co-Presiding Officer, distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, that is a reading of a communication from Honorable Mercier. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished colleague, you listen to the reading of the communication has been read. What is your will and pleasure? Honorable Formula.
Mr. Deputy Speaker and presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleague, having listened to the well-written communication and the impact the said communication will have on our country, I move that the said communication be received and the plenary communicate to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, inviting the minister to come and explain to this August body on Tuesday the progress as to the rollout of said plan. I so move.
Distinguished colleagues, with the motion being seconded, are you ready to vote? All ready? Honorable Koga. Honorable Koga, Honorable Williams, in our order.
To my colleague from Bonn, I'll be ready to vote, owing to the fact that this communication was earlier flared by one of our colleagues from NEMA in person of Naked Gay. And the matter was referred to the chair of the Committee on Judiciary. Being that the chairman is here, we will let him to give us an update on the status. Then we can proceed from there if he accept that amendment.
You know, the essence of this communication is to come and explain. And in as much as this communication speaks to that reality, I so reject.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the motion from my lender colleagues, fully familiar of Bonn County, and I would like to make you to accept this amendment. that this place, it is an intellectual theater. Every time a communication is proffered on the floor, an individual must be given the time to expound on his or her communication. What necessitated such communication? So on that basis, I will be ready to vote. If we can give our learned colleagues from Nima County the opportunity to expound on this communication, if even in 2 minutes, I'll be ready to vote. I'll expound.
Mr. Presiding, and to my learned colleague from Maryland, 2 minute requests are so accepted.
Deputy Speaker, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, the entire Local Government Act, we need to revisit it. I think it was a calculated attempt to remove the lawmakers out of the development package of our various districts in this country. That particular Local Government Act, I think we can be representing the people in our various districts, in the 73 districts, and we are completely out. So my,
Take it back.
I'll take it back.
Thank you.
But I shouldn't be rude.
So
my unreadiness is that particular communication, that law that was passed, we need to revisit it and improve on it. Thank you.
To the movement, please.
Alfred, what did you say?
We should improve on the Local Government Act.
Okay, it is said noted.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, with the amendment made, are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yea. Yeah. Against nay. We give the proponent 3 minutes on the Marcy. Thank you.
Mr. Presiding, and my patriotic co-presiding from Mangibi County and fellow colleague, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to bring to your attention some of the issues that we have gathered, some of the complaints coming from our people back home regarding the implementation of this Local Government Act. As all of us may be aware, this act was passed sometime September 2018, and since this act was passed, there were some actions that were supposed to be taken, and we are just 11 months to 2025 September, which will make it exactly 7 years after this act was passed. So, few concerns that I'd like to bring to your attention. One of it is the issue of our local authority. According to Article 56 of our Constitution, our town chiefs, paramount chief, general town chiefs, these positions, the Constitution gave the right that these people are supposed to be elected. But in the absence of elections, the Ministry of Internal Affairs also have the authority to make appointments into those positions. And since then, many of these people, they are very concerned on the issue of their benefit. None of them, some of them have been taking pay, some of them none. So they want to know what their status are, whether they are still being considered under the law or whether they are not being considered under the law. Another issue again is the issue of the various city status across the country. The law also provides that by 2020, that is by 7 years after the enactment of this act, many of those cities will be dissolved and only the capital for counties and boroughs will be, and townships will exist. So it's important that as we go close towards the end of the 7 years as stipulated by the act, it's important that we invite the Minister of Internal Affairs to come and let us know, or to at least give us report as to the preparations on some of those issues that have been raised in this act and how they are going about in terms of our local government in the various counties and in our various districts. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I will still come back to provide any information if there's a need.
Distinguished colleague, with the presentation made, we will now ask distinguished colleagues, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion made by Honorable Famula, say yea. Against, motion is carried. We have the minister invited, Honorable Deputy Chief Clerk. On Tuesday, 10 a.m., Messelina. Distinguished colleagues, Messelina. Honorable Sokran, Honorable Messelina.
Honorable Presiding, Honorable Co-Presiding, distinguished colleagues, honored miscellaneous, I prefer in the agenda that this August body should move to communicate with the executive branch as well as the Senate and all relevant proper authority of a full functioning House, and going forward that the issue or the matter relating to our national development, including and not limited to the national budget for 2025 and other matters be addressed. I think it's important in keeping with Article 3 of our Constitution that we reach out to the various branches of government in the spirit of coordination. Our presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleagues, I think we should today mandate the Chief Clerk to reach out and inform and communicate adequately and sufficiently the working of this body in the spirit of coordination as also submit.
Can we convert that into a motion if we don't have further?
So let me convert it into motion.
Yeah.
Session over the past weeks doing the Liberian people business, having also considered the fact that we have a majority and a leadership. This I move. And as this body continues to do the Liberian people business, I move, if I can be seconded, that this body, in the spirit of Article 3, communicate with the executive, the judiciary, and all relevant authority, including the Senate, of the normal business, the regular business of this body, if I can be seconded.
Distinguished colleague, you listen to the motion made by our honorable colleague. Sokran, what is your waiting pleasure? Honorable Famula.
Mr. Deputy Speaker and presiding, co-presiding, distinguished colleague, I believe the motion is in good faith, only that said modification should be made to said motion. That the communication sent to the executive should inform the executive as to the current status and the issues that has to do with transactions of business in the lower house, giving notice as to how communication should be channeled to the lower house sitting in section in the House of Representatives. So
to the movement.
To my distinguished general, as so said.
Distinguished colleagues, Honorable Colette.
The issue, my arena is the communication, whether sent to the chief clerk or the deputy chief clerk, it is still sent. Because as far as my knowledge is concerned, The Honorable Chief Clerk wrote this plenary, informing this plenary of her illness. So whether communication come to her and we accept, we noted that letter, thereby accepting that she is ill. So any communication that is addressed to her, it is by best practice that it is this plenary that communication will come to. I just want to make that correction as we move through the voting procedure. Thank you.
I think that should be considered information, you see?
Yeah.
Okay. So, distinguished colleagues, with the motion made, including the amendments, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say yea. Yeah. Against? Thank you. Honorable Chief, Deputy Chief Clerk, in keeping with the motion made, please inform the Chief Executive, the Senate, including all functionaries of government, to include the judiciary of members in section to do the applicable business. Thank you. Yes, sir. If nothing else, distinguished colleagues, we will seek motion for a miscellaneous honorable.
Honorable Presiding, co-presiding, fellow colleagues, given the fact that we are doing the Liberian people's business and that sitting in session gave credence to Article 40, for which the House of Senate is still in session. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask this plenary to send an open communication to our colleagues, quoting Rule 21 of our laws, of our rules, to invite them to come, because our rule states that in 2 weeks, if you are absent, there could be measures. Let us extend the open invitation to our colleagues to come to do the Liberian.
Please reduce that into a motion so we can take action on it, please.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding. Honorable Presiding, fellow colleagues, co-presiding fellow colleagues, I move, if I can obtain a second, that a communication be sent to our colleagues in respect to Rule 21 of our rules, that if they do not come, we can take a punitive measure. I so move.
With the motion being seconded, are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say yea. Against? Motion is carried. Honorable Deputy Chief Clerk, please act in accordance with the motion. Thank you. Nothing else, distinguished colleagues. Motion for adjournment. Thank you.
Drop their Bluetooth charger. Somebody dropped their Bluetooth charger. If it is you, please pick it up on the Samia house.
Shut down. What's up?
Yeah, we have international. Let's see what else.
Yeah, SMS, Darren.
This incoming resources.
Moment, I'm afraid to go. Why is that?
You got information that people coming here to fight?
You want to open here? You can try it, sir. Open it.
Hey! You are proud now in La Bureau.
Where you go?